The economic slowdown in the United States has fueled speculation that a fundamental change is underway in the global economy as power shifts from the U.S. to China. To help us understand what's going on, we're joined today by Bob Kapp. For 10 years, Bob was the president of the US-China Business Council, and he now runs a consulting firm based out of Washington State. Bob's also an advisor to LinkAsia. Bob, so the first question I have is, why would a downgrade of American debt have such a big impact on Asian markets?
I think the downgrade is obviously related to other things we've seen in the U.S., including the endless battle over the deficit and the political stalemate that showed. And Asia, including China, but also including most of the rest of Asia, does not feel good if the U.S. economy and the policies behind it seem to be paralyzed. So what underlies it all really is an uncertainty that the United States is going to be able to see its way and think its way out of its problems, which is not good for any Asian economy.
Now, China owns more U.S. debt than any other country in the world. Why has China had such a big appetite for U.S. Treasury bonds, and will the downgrade have any impact on its appetite for U.S. debt going forward?
Well, the reason China likes Treasury bonds is that they are traditionally an extremely safe investment. The reason China can buy so many is that it has vast amounts of dollar holdings, which it has accumulated largely through foreign trade and through its famous trade surpluses with the United States. Now, when the U.S. economy and the value of the dollar begin to get a little less certain, China says, wait a minute, we own $1 trillion worth of this stuff, and if the dollar is going to lose value, we're going to lose big time. So they may think about other things to do with the dollars, such as investing in other forms of investments in the United States, property, businesses, and so forth. But at the bottom, there really isn't any other economy in the world or any other place to put as many dollars as China has amassed. And so it's not automatic, despite some brave rhetoric, that the Chinese are going to walk away from their investments here.
Now, a lot of observers have been looking to China to be the world's engine of economic growth. Do you believe that China has the ability to prevent the world from falling into recession?
Well, I think this is magical thinking. I think the answer is no. I mean, on the one hand, in America, many people think that China is going to sort of come over the hill and take over the United States or end American life as we know it, et cetera, et cetera. And on the other hand, we say, well, on the other hand, maybe they can save us and they can save the world economy. Neither is remotely likely. And I think we should all try to avoid that kind of magical thinking.
Now, a lot of experts have also been predicting that the United States, their economic turmoil, and especially the downgrade, will hasten the rise of China as being the world's foremost economic superpower. What do you think about that? Have we finally hit that tipping point?
It's certainly a different world than 40 years ago when, after World War II, the United States was really the only great economy in the world. And China's advent as a huge economic power, both on the trade side and on the consumption of raw materials from global sourcing and so forth, has been a major development in the world economy, which automatically means the United States doesn't have the same position in the world that it did 20 or 30 years ago. That's just a fact. It's not that they did it to us. It's the way it is. But really, when it comes to deciding who's heavier on the seesaw, there are people in both countries who predict either doom or triumph. The Chinese tend sometimes to predict triumph. We tend to predict doom. It is not a question of one doing it to the other. If the United States is losing vital power in the world, it's more because of what we don't do for ourselves. We don't improve our infrastructure. We don't educate our kids. We don't understand the nature of the competitive challenge that we've got to meet. There are lots of ways in which the United States, in its political stalemate and its ideological stalemate, seems to be unable to grasp what it must do in order to compete successfully in a competitive world. And to ask the rest of the world not to compete because we like being the world's sole remaining superpower is really asking too much of the rest of the world.
Bob Kapp is a former president of the US-China Business Council.
Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world. To learn more, visit linktv.org.